Okay, so we'll get started. So let's see here. Few people have done some homework. Let's check here. So here's the one thing, right? So when you're opening too many defects, let's say you have opened these many, right? 6 defects. So if you're opening too many defects, you have to make it, you cannot open, you put them in all in one. You cannot put it unless, you get, unless you talk to your lead and, check it with the lead, because each defect has its own, you know, it's not necessary that all the defects is related to one developer. One developer is not responsible for all of this defect, okay? Because as I told you, there is a lot of things that goes on. There is, you might have some Java issue, some Excel issue or some document issue or ETL. It might be a matter of ETL, an ETL developer. So there's a lot of people will be working on it. So if you're opening these many defects in just one ID, then it's really not a very good idea, because if you're opening these many, you have to make sure with your lead. Okay, you cannot just open all of this in one, because some might be related to some ETL issue, one might be related to some web services issue, one some might be related to something else. Okay, so you have to make sure that if you're opening it, you have to at least open individually, or you have to check with your lead and make sure you're opening in one. Otherwise, you cannot open all the defects in just one defect, okay, one ID. So you have to. Okay, so make sure you guys do that. Okay, so let's go to the today. We'll talk about. So you have to create individually. Let's say if you want, if you're creating, it's not like individually or all into one. You don't want to club everything into one. The reason, because there can be another different developer for each defect. We don't know, right? We don't know which developer fixes which issue. So in that case, you have to check with your lead that you have, and most important, yeah, you should always open you don't want to club all the defects into one. Okay, you have to open one after the other. Okay, the reason, because it might be something else, you know some other issues. Okay, so it's not necessary only one developer is responsible for all of these defects. As I told you, a lot of people will be working on, okay, ETL, Java, web services, Ajax, okay, web developers. A lot of people are involved. So it's not really very good idea to always open all issues in one. You cannot club everything in one. Okay, so that's the important point. Unless you check with your lead and if the lead says, yeah, you can open it all as related to one issue, then you can do that. But otherwise, you cannot do it. Okay. Okay. So we'll go through today. We'll talk about agile. So so agile has. So agile is a methodology. Okay, there are many sub levels into the agile. Okay, because if somebody asks you what methodology you're working on, somebody says agile, so that's really not a good answer, because in agile there are so many things. There's a Scrum, there's a Kanban. Okay, there's an extreme programming. Okay, extreme programming, and there's a lot more. Here there's a lot more things that you have in agile. Okay, you see this Kanban, you have this Kanban, and extreme programming, and a lot of things. So you have a lot of methodologies and, like I said, process. Okay, so what is an agile? Agile is an iterative and incremental process. Okay, so anything which is related to agile, these are like parts. These are methods. Scrum, Kanban, these are methods. So it's all a similar process. Okay, it's not. It's a little bit different based on the project, based on the workplace, based on the way the project is designed and all those things. But if you know one, if you, let's say, if you know Scrum, remaining all will be similar, if not same. Okay. So we'll talk about this Scrum. Okay, today we'll go in detail about this Scrum. So what is Scrum? And okay, Scrum is, what is a Scrum? Scrum is an iterative and incremental process. Okay, so let's go, one by one from here. Let's start with the roles. Okay, so remember, like I was saying, keep saying the product owner. Okay, so here in Agile, who is the product owner? The business analyst. The business analyst in waterfall methodology is called product owner in Agile. Okay, the same guy, different, the responsibilities are a little bit different, different terminology. Okay, so terminology is different, plus responsibilities is also a little bit different than a business analyst. Okay, so this is called product owner, and he or she is responsible for writing all this documents for business requirements. Okay, FRD or BRD, so whatever the documents are required, but not just testing, for everything. Okay, for development from architect level, so everything whatever this product owner is actually responsible. Okay, so you want to make sure, you want to go through it and try to understand here. Okay, it's not like you will be doing the product owner, but you want to know. So the problem, right? So the problem is Agile, not many people know it. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are doing it right. Okay, so we'll go just one by one. Okay, and you'll see here. Next, you have development team. Okay, so development team. So yeah, anyone so the development team can be an ETL developer or web developer, or anyone who is the developer. Will be that development team, and it's not necessary all the team people will be in your team. Okay, if it is a short, Agile is always designed to be a small team. Okay, it's like 5 to 6 members. That's it. It's like one Scrum Master, 2 developers, 1 testers. That's it. Okay, 5 to 16 is always preferred. You don't go more than 10. If you are going more than 10, you're doing it wrong, because it creates more confusion. The more you add people, the more confusion. That's the reason you want to always have small teams every time. Okay, team 1, you can have multiple teams, team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4. But in Agile, if you're working on Agile, it's a you have to make sure the efficiency. If you need more efficiency, then you have to be in small teams. Okay, so that's the development team. And if you are not, let's say you open some defect, and if you're not able to find the concerned person in your team, then you have to check with your lead or with Scrum Master. Okay, and assign it to the different team, whoever is the different team, or you can take help from the different team people. Okay, so that's how you need to work with them. Okay, so that's the development team. Then Scrum Master. Scrum Master is So, in waterfall methodology, you have project manager, right? Remember project manager? The project manager is actually called a scrum master in Agile. Okay, it's the same guy. Okay, yeah. So it's not actually traditional, project manager because the responsibilities are different. Here, the responsibility is a little bit different than traditional project manager. Okay, that's the reason it's not same. In Agile, it's different. In Waterfall, it's different. Okay, so you no more call as project manager. If you're saying project manager, then you're not working in Agile. In Agile, there is no project manager. You call it Scrum Master. Okay. So you also want to go ahead and look into the responsibilities. This is the way these are responsibilities are very important. See what happens, right? So most of people don't know. Okay, so let me explain you one of my projects. So what happened, right? So I found some defect. Okay, so now obviously developer will fix it. You have to get used to it. Okay, you have to really get used to it. Developer will not fix it because they will come up with something. Well, they will say, no, I have, I'm working on production. I have a lot of work. I'll not fix your defect. Yeah, it's Scrum Master. In Agile, you call it a Scrum Master. There is no project manager in Agile. So if you're saying project manager, then you're not working in Agile. There is no project manager in Agile. Okay. Okay. So here, let's say if you're, what happened? I opened a defect. Okay, you have to get used to it that developer will not fix your issue. Okay, so you have to be very careful on that. And you want to maintain a diplomacy with the developer. Okay, you don't want to, um, they won't really bother because it's not, they'll not care any defects from the tester. So, but you have to do your work, right? You have to open defects. So I opened a defect and I opened and assigned to the concerned developer. Developer said, I don't have time for you. And I'm working on production issue. I already have a lot of 3 issues to be taking care of it. I don't have time. Okay, so I went to the next day, same thing, 2-3 days. Then what happened is, right, I approached to Scrum Master. Why Scrum Master? Because here you see this helping the Scrum team to avoid and remove impediments to its process. That means if you are facing an issue with the issues, you have to escalate to Scrum Master. Now that Scrum Master job is to coordinate with the developer and fix the issue. Okay, so what happened, right? So most of the people don't know. Okay, so they have no idea about this responsibility. So this is one of the responsibility of Scrum Master. So what happened? So suddenly my boss called me and said, why did you forward the ticket to Scrum Master? What it has to do? So then I have to respond and saying that based on my experience, Scrum Master is a bridge between the developers and testers. Okay, Scrum Master is a bridge between the developers and testers. If there are any issues from any point of view, Scrum Master has to resolve these issues, whatever the impediments. So impediments is issue. Okay, in Agile, you don't call as defect, you call as impediment. So impediment can be anything. It can be a coordination issue. It can be a defect. It can be any other issues related to project. Okay, that's called impediments. Okay, so now I have to say to my boss saying that based on my experience, Scrum Master is a bridge between developers and testers. So that's how you have to work, because obviously developer won't respond. Okay, and you don't want to because you cannot lose your work, right? If your bug is not getting fixed, then it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to coordinate with them. Okay, and always, of course, developers won't be helpful. You have to always maintain diplomacy with them. You have to check with the Scrum Master saying that, hey, this is the issue. Can you escalate this issue? Okay, because I already checked with the developers, say like they're busy, but my issue, I'm waiting from 3 days, and this has to go next week into production, and really I don't have time for this. Okay, because I need to sign off from this as soon as possible. Okay, so that's the reason you have to know some of the responsibilities for other team members, because in agile nobody knows. Okay, even my scrum master didn't know what to do with that. Okay, so until I told my boss saying that that scrum master is a bridge between the developer and tester, then immediately scrum master coordinated the issue with the developers. Okay, so that's how people don't know, so you have to so you are the one who will be knowing it, so you have to also talk to the people and make sure you're doing it right. Okay, you have to also educate your boss. Your boss is they don't have technical knowledge. They will be only more into management. They will not be into technical. So you have to tell them if there is anything is which they don't know. Okay. Okay. So remember one thing. Developers will not be that helpful. You have to coordinate. Coordinate with Scrum Master. Okay, if your boss is good, you're lucky. If not, then you have to coordinate somewhere or other, your lead or Scrum Master. Okay. So these are roles. Okay, these are the roles in the Scrum. Not only just Scrum, but also in any if you're doing in the Kanban, if you're even if you're doing in extreme programming anywhere, this would be similar. In water, so somebody asked, right? So in waterfall methodologies, project manager, is really is not given that much of priority. Okay, but responsibilities are a little different than this. They handle the project. They also encourage issue. Okay, but really there's not they don't get too much of limelight into for waterfall methodology. But in agile, a project manager, Scrum Master is very important, because any issue you have to coordinate with the Scrum Master. Now you can, if you found any issue, you cannot talk to manager, your boss. They won't help. They you're nowhere talking any issues. You're nowhere talking to your boss. It gets only worse. Okay, you have to get it resolved by Scrum Master. But in waterfall, you could have talk to your boss and you have resolved. So waterfall is a little bit different. Okay, their project manager doesn't take in charge on this. Their boss actually takes the in charge. Here, Scrum Master it takes in charge. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so let's go to workflow. So these are the rules. Okay, so if you notice, there is no testers here. See, okay, that is a very important thing. So in agile they try to remove testers. Okay, so that's really not possible in either way. Okay, so what they try to do is no, testing is done by the developers. Okay, your boss might not they'll say you. Okay, why do we need testers? We don't need any testers. Okay, any testing the developers will be doing it. So at that time you have to respond that this is a very important thing. Okay, so they will tell you whatever they want. So here's the thing: developer, even if the developer tests an application, they do business point of view. Okay, they only check the code. If the code is good, good code. Okay, that's good. Now, whenever the tester tests an application, they test based on customer point of view, user point of view. Okay, whenever the user is using, is it user friendly? Is it is the application working properly? Is it navigation is good? So all those things. So now developer doesn't care about it, right? The developer cares no. The developer cares about the code, because they are only looking in the code and the code is good. So they don't even code. they don't even care if the application is broken because they see that the code is good. Okay, now there's nothing to do with the code. There might be something else issue, but they don't care. Okay, so that's the reason you cannot remove testers, completely. It's really not possible, and that's what your boss will say. No, we don't need any testers. Any testers, any testing will be done by the developer teams. So then, in that way, you have to respond that you developer, whenever the developer tests, they do based on business point of view, and whenever the tester tests, they do in the user point of view or customer point of view, so that the application is good, usability, the usability is good, the user friendliness, and all those things. Okay, that's the reason you cannot really completely remove testers, from anything. Okay, they are completely dedicated to that particular application, and developer is completely dedicated to the code point of view. Okay, they will only just look the code. So that's the reason they were trying to eliminate, but really that's not possible. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So let's talk about this workflow. Okay, so there's something called sprint. Okay, sprint is yeah, any questions so far? Any questions in roles and responsibilities? So yeah, you have to. So whenever you are working in Agile, so make sure this should be you have to make sure that any issues you cannot report to your boss. You have to solve because your boss doesn't like issues. In Agile, you have to be very careful. In waterfall, yeah, you would have coordinated with put the CC with and your boss, and everything would have done. It was really good. Here you need to coordinate a lot with the Scrum Master. Scrum Master is the one who will be helping you out. Okay, you're not your boss. Boss, just want the work done. Is it good or not? Okay, so that's, and at the same time you have to maintain your performance. How you're performing. Too many defects, that's good. Your performance is good. That means you're opening a lot of defects. That means you're really working on it. Okay, so that's also the important. Your performance is most important. Okay, you have to maintain all of this. Okay, next let's go to the workflow. So something called sprint. Sprint is okay. It's a time box unit. Okay, that means it's time. Okay, so it's taken time to complete a particular iteration or a particular flow, a workflow. So that's called a sprint. Okay, it's a time boxed to complete one particular iteration. So iteration is this is a piece of work. Okay, it might be a bunch of user stories. So we'll talk about this. We'll go in detail on this. Okay, so now let's go to the sprint planning. Okay, so these are the we'll talk about this. These are the meetings actually. So sprint planning. So this sprint planning is it's actually so you don't have to plan any framework. So can you be in detail? So somebody said right, plan, time, framework. Okay, so you don't have to plan any time framework. Okay, so let's take an example here. So if you see here, entirely, let's say you have here, let's go here. So let's say this tool is good. This tool shows a lot of information here. So if you see here, so whatever time you are preparing for your test cases or we are testing, you are doing the task. Remember? So this is the time. You see this? Where is my? I'm mining this, right? Oh, somebody deleted that. Okay. So here, whatever time you have taken, to complete you are actually putting it here, right? You are actually adding here. So this is the estimation of your time. Does it make sense? So you don't have to, hand it over to anyone. As a matter of fact, you're not, doing anything. You are updating here. Okay. So everything, whatever you have to update here, so that automatically project manager, scrum master, or your boss, or whoever it is, get to know what you're trying to do. Does it make sense? So you're not doing anything. You're not, you don't want, you're not actually telling any time to anyone. Okay, all you have to enter the information is here, and they will check it out based on that. They will be having access to the rally. They will check it out and look into here. Okay, so that is, that is a modern way. But if it's traditional way, of course you have to do that. Okay, traditional way, of course, it's a hard, that's a hard work. You have to do it manually. Talk to them and see this is what they are planning out, and they'll, based on that they'll do. But otherwise, this is a better way to do it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So yeah, sprint planning. Let's talk about the sprint planning. So sprint planning session is the time. Let's say it starts from every start of the sprint. Okay, so there's a sprint. Sprint, right? It's, let's say, there's an iteration. Sprints are iteration, like sprint one. It's like a release. You can say what is sprint? It's a release. Sprint one, sprint two, sprint three, sprint four. Okay, let's take sprint one as 1 month. Okay, it can be any time between 15 to 20 days. Let's take, for ease of convenience, 1 month. 1 month, one sprint. Second month, second sprint. That is second release. Okay, third month, third sprint, so on. Okay, so every new sprint, whenever you start every new sprint, a sprint planning is required. So that's called sprint planning. Okay, so here what we discuss in this is a lot of user stories comes up. Okay, then let's say a bunch of user stories, 10 to 15 user stories. There are a lot of user stories. Let's say there's a mobile application, there's a browser testing, again you have browser, Firefox browser, Chrome browser, a lot of things. So there are user stories based on that, and you want to make sure that users, not you actually, Scrum Master will want to make sure that those user stories are moving into particular iteration. So based on the priority, which priority of the user story is moving into which iteration or which sprint. Okay, which sprint it is going to. So that's called sprint planning. So this is all discussed in the sprint planning. Okay, all this are discussed in the sprint planning. We're supposed to discuss one more, right? We should have discussed articles. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so what they do in the sprint planning is, let's say they have this time. Let's say there's one user story. Okay, so they'll talk about this user story. What's the issue with the user story, and who is going to develop that, and who is going to test that? Okay, that's the thing. And now let's say this user state. Now developer says, okay, we need like 5 days. Okay, so whenever they say 5 days, that means 3 days for development, 2 days for testing. Okay, that's not 5 days for alone. That's for development as well as testing. Okay, that's what they mean. Now the Scrum Master will argue that no, we don't have that much time. We have to move on with the other user stories. We cannot take 5 days for this. Okay, now you have so these are more controlled by developer, because testers won't have knowledge on what the application is and all. Okay, so these are more, the developer will be talking more on this. Now someone is really good, let's say the developer manager, let's say they are good in technical, let's say they are good in technical, so they have to come up saying that no, we need this for 5 days. The reason, because we have to coordinate with the other team. We don't have this resource in our team. We have to externally get this resource, and we have to run. And there are a lot of JavaScripts. There are a lot of objects to be cleaned up. So that's the reason we need this 5 days. Now your Scrum Master will agree. Okay, good. So we are going with the 5 days because a lot of work is there, and that is 3 days for development and 2 days for testing. So that's how all this brainstorming kind of work, right, is discussed in sprint planning. All this will be discussed in sprint planning. It is called voting. So normally voting. So that's like, right, no, 5 days. No, this will take more, 7 days. Okay, so something like that. So based on that, okay, they will decide this user stories, who is going to develop and who is going to test. Okay, and Scrum Master will prioritize this user stories, which user stories has to go in which sprint. Okay, it's a job of a Scrum Master to look into it, that which user story is prior, or which user story should be given more priority, and which one has to go first. Then, based on that, they put the user stories in each sprint. Okay, that's how it works. Any questions? So there is one more called sprint grooming session that's not here. Okay, we'll put it here. Um, if if there is, the time was not sufficient, okay, and let's say it's normally takes 3 to 4 hours, and this is once in a month. Let's say it's every month a new sprint, then it's every month a new sprint planning. Okay, based on the sprint. Now it will take like 3 to 4 hours. Okay, and because 9 to 9:30 will be your daily scrum, so they'll start about 10 and make sure they'll make sure that you will not have your lunch. Okay, so it will go by 2 or 3. Okay, so, and that's how the sprint planning. Okay, so that takes 1 day in 1 month. Okay, and that will all be discussing about all the user stories, who is the responsible person and who will be testing it. So all this will be discussed in sprint planning. Sprint grooming is also like similar to sprint planning. If they miss something in sprint planning and they need more information, and they have something got changed, the priority of the user stories got changed and all those things, then they go for sprint grooming session. So normally it's not required, but if there's an option, yeah, you have to do it. Okay, so that's a sprint planning. Then you have daily scrum meeting. Okay, now this daily scrum meeting, so we are discussing all about meetings. Okay, sprint planning is meeting. Okay, daily scrum is also a meeting. Now here you have to, it's a daily stand-up meeting. Okay, you see here, so this is a daily stand-up. So here, Scrum Master will be there. Scrum Master, developers, testers, and product owner. Sometimes product owner, but not your boss. Boss is not included in this. In daily scrum, no, not your boss, not invited. Okay, not necessary. Your boss has to come here. It's not their job. Okay, so that's how. Yes, business analyst here is called product owner. So yes, product owner will be there. They will come as per their convenience. If there's any something else, you can reach out through the email. Otherwise, yes, if they have, they also will be joining this. This is daily Scrum meeting, and it is daily. It's a time box unit. That means 15 to 20 minutes. It lasts just 15 to 20 minutes. If it's going more than 30 minutes, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, you cannot go more than 30 minutes for daily scrum. Okay, let's see what you actually discuss in daily scrum meeting. 4 important things you discuss. Okay, what have you done yesterday? That's one thing. What are you going to do today? The second thing. What are you going to do tomorrow? Third thing. Fourth thing is there any impediments that is stopping you to do your work? 4 important things. What have you done yesterday? What have you done? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? And is there an impediment that is stopping your work? Impediment can be anything like the coordination issue. You have to coordinate with the other team members, or it's a defect, or something else related to the project. Okay, you have to get a resource. There is no resource, and you have to check with your boss and get the resource for that because there's no resource in the team. So all these are impediments. Okay, impediments is not just a bug or defect. Series impediment is anything, can be risk, issue, or delayed resource. Okay, all this is called impediment. So that's what you discuss in the daily scrum. 4 important things. Okay, so there's two meetings, and let's go to the third meeting. Now there's something called any questions in daily Scrum? So you'll be having most of the time, if you're using Scrum, then you'll be most of the time you'll be in meetings daily. Daily one that will be shown, that is daily Scrum. Okay, and you're lucky if you're lucky. So all this, all this have to be like ceremonial kind of thing. People have to gather at one place. So see this, everyone is gathering in one place. But that's a traditional way. If it is offshore team, you really cannot gather, right? So somebody, one of the person from one of the batch, right? They say, hey, how can we gather when there's an offshore team? That's right? So you really can't. So in that case, you have to use, phone and WebEx meeting, whatever, if they have to display some information. So in that case, you have to use. So that is more convenient to people who are working all around the world. Okay, so that should be an option. Okay, so let's go to the next one: sprint review and retrospective meeting. So this is the third meeting, which will be the end. Whenever you end the sprint, right? As I told you, every month you have sprint. So this sprint review and retrospective is the end of the sprint. Okay, once the sprint gets ended, you have to Scrum Master. So all these meetings are prepared by Scrum Master, not by developer tester. Scrum Master is responsible for making all these meetings. Okay, so here what they discuss in sprint review and retrospective, three important things: what went good, what didn't go good, and how can you improve which didn't go good. Okay, three important things you have to they have to discuss, and they will take each and everyone opinion how to improve the agile. Let's say the user stories, they were not properly organized, so you want to talk to that. Yeah, we had a hard time to organize the user stories. We didn't complete in time. There's a reason. If there was better, we have completed in time. So that's the one of the reason to improve. So based on that, you have to improve the uh, system agile methodology. Okay, so the three important things were that discussed in sprint review and retrospective: what went good, what didn't go good, and how can you improve it didn't go good. Okay, so that is the meetings what you discuss. Okay. So any questions about workflow? So this was we were talking about this workflow. Okay, we finished with roles. We know what this product owner, scrum master, development team, and the workflow. We talk about a lot of meetings here. 3 meetings. Okay, so let's go to the next one, artifacts. Let's talk about just few of them artifacts. There's something called product backlog. Okay, product backlog is a high level requirement. It's a very high level requirement. Okay, it's a requirement. Okay, and it's the way it is, right? The product backlog can be one line statement in an Excel sheet. That's the product backlog. Just one line statement. And you are not going to write your test cases based on that product backlog because there is no technical information whatsoever. Product backlog only is like a story. I said, for example, let's take an example here. Let's say GMO Online. Design GMO Online. Okay. Now, that's it. That's the product backlog. But you don't know how many buttons are there, how many pages does it contain, what does this button do, how many fields are there. All this is nowhere there in the product backlog. Product backlog is a very high level document. It can be in Excel or it can be based on the requirement. However, the requirement is it's as high level as one line statement in Excel sheet. That's it. And it contains no technical information whatsoever. So you cannot start writing your test cases in product backlogs. There is no way possible to do that. Okay. When you don't know what are the fields, when you don't know what are the buttons, when you don't know what are the text, a lot of things, you cannot write any test cases. Okay. So that's high level document. Okay. But still it contains information, to move forward. Okay. to break it down into technical, and then again break it down to the user stories. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So that's a product backlog. And there's something called sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is, whichever it happens in the sprint. So in that sprint, if there is any backlog, so that's called sprint. Okay, sprint is, right? Sprint is like time. It's 1 month. So one sprint, 2 months, second sprint, third month, third sprint. Okay, so if there is anything which is not addressed, so that's called sprint backlog. Okay, so there are, there are charts. So we know about this, charts, right? So this is like burn down chart. So it's there in the rally too. So if you have seen here, go to reports. So we talked about this, okay, previously. See this iteration, burn down, velocity chart, iteration. So all these are, the charts which are prepared. So traditionally, documents prepared by the testers are called artifacts. Yes, you can say that. But that artifact is different. It's a tester point of view. Okay, so that artifact is okay. That's one of the part in that artifact. Okay, so these are the artifact, of course, but these are related to more of a project sense. So whenever if you are talking about your artifact about tester, that's the only tester related artifacts. Okay, so that is a little bit different. But yes, that is also called as artifact. Okay. Okay, so these are the graphs. Okay, so you see this burn down chart, which we have burn up chart, and do you have any? So all these actually we have already here. We can put any other chart from here. Okay, so traditionally what you used to do is is to print out this put this chart and plot this graph. How many days you took to complete one sprint. Let's say 30 days. In that 21 days, that's good. And how much time you have put in this. Let's say 250 hours, that's good. And you have to print this, and it's not an ordinary printer. You have to use that plotter. It's a big chart kind of things, and stick to the walls and all those things. So that is a traditional way of doing it. Now it's no more required. If you are using Rally, that's outdated. All this is plotted right here. You see this? No, and if you only need is the access for this Rally, and once you get an access, you already see what's the chart here, right? Okay, that is really not good. We'll just take off. Okay, see this. See this? Okay, and the graph is already plotted for you. You're not doing anything here. Okay, and there is no need of printing any report. It's really not required. Okay, so all this will be there, right for you. So only thing if your Scrum Master wants any information, they can look into it. Just they need to have some access. If somebody want to visit, they don't have to visit. They can just look into Rally and see which is who has done what. Okay, so it's it's no more required. Okay, so that's all about the charts. Okay, and so let's pretty quickly check about this agile process, Scrum process. So this is the process. Okay, so these are see this block. Let's see here. Okay, you see this. This is called product backlog. That means you can take it as one block. You see this one block. It can be one block is divided into 4 iterations. Okay, you can take that. I mean, it's not necessary, but as a ease of example, we'll have this. That means one block is like 4 months. Then you have remaining 3 blocks. Okay, that is 4 into 3. Okay, so it's kind of you're dividing this chunk of work into sprint backlog. That means how many sprint this has to go. Okay, there's a product backlog is then classified into sprint backlog, but there is no way of technical information here too. Okay, in the sprint backlog. Now this sprint backlog is actually divided into user stories. Okay, you've seen this user stories, right? Remember in Rally you used to write the user story. Okay, yeah, you intro. I actually have written user story. Okay, so that user story, each sprint might have like 10 user stories or 15 user stories, but should not go more than 10. Okay, 10 should be max. Because if you're doing more, then you'll be um, having a lot of confusion. Okay, so the max 10 is good. Okay, 5 or 6, that's good. Okay, so that's how the sprint backlog is divided. Okay. Okay, then each sprint runs for 30 days, like for an example, and after that, the product is delivered. That's how this Scrum, picture in just one, the Scrum process in one picture. Okay, does it make sense? I mean, just for ease of understanding, it's not necessary just one block is like 4 months. It's not really, uh, it's not really that. But if you are dividing the chunk of work into one, then you need this. Okay, so somebody asked, right? So you have to deliver a report for each month. So as a, if you are a tester, if you don't have to send report, but if you are a senior, okay, senior tester or lead, then yes, you have to send reports, not of reports. So we have discussed in that, right? Few of them is this reports which you can send through email. Okay, and the other is so this is like project related reports and the team level reports. The team level reports we have discussed, you have to capture all those and either you can do it in Excel or you can put it PDF and send it to. But that even that is really not required, to be honest. Okay, because everyone has access to this, right? Your boss has access to this rally, and they'll check it out right here. There's no reason to have this kind of report. So this is just an example. If they don't have or some other issues, we can make it up with something. Okay, so this is one thing. But otherwise, they will be asking a report which is completely different from this. Okay, not related to this one. Okay, so that is Scrum process. Okay, that's how we can divide the chunk of work into various sprints, and that sprint is divided into various user stories, and that's how you start your development and testing. Okay. Any more questions? So let's see here. So this is a traditional way of organizing. So this normally this board. You put a big board there and stick all the user stories with sticky notes. You see this? See, these are sticky notes. Okay, so these are the sticky notes, right? Blue color is kind of testers. The pink color is kind of for developers. I mean, it's really based on the how they want to organize, but that's a that's one way of doing it. Okay, it's not necessarily it should be that way. Okay, and now you see these column stories. These are user stories. Okay, so these are user stories, and each they put it printed on paper. See this? Now this is a traditional way of doing. Okay, so some people who cannot afford Rally or they don't know about Rally, and let's say they are working on HP ALM. Now ALM doesn't support any kind of very interactive way than Rally has, right? Um, because it's an old tool. This that's good, but it's not really very user friendly in agile environment. Okay, so but Rally is pretty good for agile. Okay, so all this when you are not using such kind of tool, you want to use this a traditional way of doing it. So all these are user stories. Okay, so here now let's say now the second column to do column, right? So whenever you start a user story, first thing is picked by the developer. Okay, you cannot start testing without development is completed. So always developer picks up that user story. Okay. So once they pick up the user story, so it goes into to-do list. Okay, so this is the list to do, and they'll be doing it. Once it's completed, okay, now they'll put into in progress. So they are working on it. So this is the in progress column. And once it's done in the in progress, then the testing, they start with testing. So now you have to start testing. Okay, so this is the column. So here you'll see, how much time will it take. You have the numbering system actually. There, they'll write 4 or 3. Then they strike the number and put it 2. Then they strike the 2 and put it 1. So this is something numbering system for each sticky note. Okay, they will be having some numbering system. So based on that. So remember, all these will be actually this voting system was all will be done in the sprint planning session. So in that session, they will all discuss which user story has to go, which sprint, and how much time will each user story will require. So somebody has said what we'll be doing in the development phase when testing is not done. So I guess you have to go back to my previous recording and see what you have to do in the development phase when there is no testing. So that is on Friday's video. I think you have to refer that one. Okay. So if you are, there is no testing and so let's say for first day, your first day, okay. Development, the developers are working on it. So you are preparing documents, right? You are not sitting idle again. Okay. You have to prepare a lot of documents. You have to prepare test plan document, test strategy document. Okay. Test cases, most important test cases. We will be working on test cases. And who is going to do that? So, right, tester is going to do it, so then you have to do it. Okay, unless sometimes there might be scenario where you'll be only writing test cases for rest of your life in this company, so that might be scenario. Okay, so in that case you might only be writing test cases. Somebody else will be there to executing it. You just keep writing and keep writing. Okay, there might be some cases where there was also one of my project which I should review only test cases. Okay, is this test case good? Need to add something or remove something? That's it. That's the only thing that I should do. Yeah, execution. There's some part they were execution, but there were some other team who was working on the execution. That might be the case where in some companies where you might be only working on only writing, no execution, or only execution, no writing. There might be scenarios, but not all the time. Okay. Now, most of the time, you'll be doing all of this. The companies mostly prefer to have multiple skills, okay, not just one. So don't expect that cakewalk. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so once both are done, you put it in the head done. See, this is the column, and you put all the sticky notes that this is done. These are completed. Developer and testers will be completed. Okay, now this is the traditional way of doing, take up the board and put it all sticky note. This is the traditional way. Now, if you are using HPLM, then you have to use this. Okay, lot of work. Okay, because HPLM doesn't support any of this, right? You don't know how much time it takes, because this supports a lot of things. Let's say if you have, let's say how much time will this user story requires. Okay, let's say, how much time your test cases will require. This is all up here. Okay, in HPLM also you have that. It's not like you don't have it. You also have time there. Okay, we'll go through this. But the point is, all the charts and the graphs is prepared for you. Okay, all the graphs and this. Yeah, somebody asked, right? HPLM doesn't support agile. It's my opinion. It's not necessary. I would say that it doesn't support. It's just my opinion because I've used HPLM for agile, and I know how much struggle I have to face to just write my test cases and execute my test cases. Okay, it's just my opinion. It's not necessary that it's not support. It does support, but I mean, if you work on it, if you go to the projects 3-4 times, you get to know how it will be compared to other tools. Okay, but HPLM of course is good for waterfall methodology. If you are working on waterfall methodology, then HPLM is good, and even this is good. This is good. Rally is more useful for agile. Okay. So it's not like it doesn't support agile. It's like, it's my opinion that I would use HPLM, of course, for agile because little bit issues. We'll talk about HPLM maybe in 2 days. So we'll go through it one by one, each modules. Okay, and we'll see what the module is. Okay, any questions so far? So this is about agile. I'm sorry, not agile, Scrum. We only just talk about Scrum. Not, this is a part in the agile actually. Okay, if you see this, there are so many others. I'm not sure about DevOps, but there's a Kanban, RAD, Rapid Application Development. Okay, XP, and the Extreme Programming. Okay, these are all actually, the part of this agile. Okay, you can use any one of them if you're in project, or you might also use all of them. It's not necessarily all of them, but yeah, any one of them you'll be using it. Either Scrum, or either Kanban, or Extreme Programming. We'll talk about this Kanban too. Okay, we'll just see how it is. It's more simple than Scrum. You don't have a lot of people gathering, a lot of meetings. You have a lot of meetings here in this. You see this already 3-4 meetings already. Okay, you don't have much into Kanban process. So Kanban is also similar to Scrum, iterative and incremental process. You'll see here. It's here. How does it say? That's it. Kanban. Okay. Yeah, this is Kanban board. Okay. So we'll see this. Okay, in the last class we'll talk about this. It's a similar to Scrum, but Scrum is more of a ceremonial kind of view where a lot of people gather a lot of, and you have a lot of meetings. Yes, it's a framework like Scrum. Okay. Any questions so far? So that's about Agile. Okay. So tomorrow is Tuesday, right? Okay, good. So today I'll be giving you homework quick. Okay. On the certification, complete your certifications. And the people who are not able to do it, I'll give you, we'll have this class to complete the certification, see if you can do it. Okay. And that will be due hopefully by 21st. Okay, so you have good amount of time. I mean, it's less time, I know, but it will take like 5 hours. I think it takes like almost a day for people. Some people took 1 day. So complete that one. That should be good. Certificate. So here in this, right, it's free. Okay, here we'll talk about this free. Okay, we're not going into cost price. We are not talking about the price here. Okay, it's free. It's free, but you have to pay your internet bill. It's not, internet bill is not free. Okay? If you have internet, that it should be good. Okay, and other than that, you don't have to pay anything. So we'll start with this, with the free, and if you can you can move to ISQB and Microsoft certifications. So people who are not getting my email, send me an email at manu@itamerica.com. Okay, send me an email. Not don't ping here. Okay, so people are pinging. I can miss something, and the email gets rejected. Actually, a lot of email gets rejected. You don't want that. So send me an email. People who are not getting recordings and not getting the homeworks can send me an email at manu@itamerica.com. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, somebody asked, right? Certification will add value for your job. Yes, of course. That's the whole point, right? Because at the end of the day, you need to get a job. So that's why certification is very important. And you have to, for now, you can manage with this, okay? But once you level up, like let's say, you're doing like 1 year, you're probably 1 year project, 2 year project, then you can start your slowly ISQB, start your Microsoft certification, or if you're good in administrator, go ahead with the administrator certifications, or whoever, whatever you're comfortable with, your comfortable level. Okay, based on that, you can do it. For now, will not go, that level, that is really big level, and you want to start from level 1, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. So we'll start from here with level 1 and see, if you complete this, that should be great. Okay, then later, after complete, 1 year or 2 years, you'll be able to know, and then you can move forward with higher levels of certifications. So it makes sense. Any more questions? So, somebody asked, right? So, should I start a certification? So, I'll be sending you email today. Okay. So, the deadline is 21st. Okay. So, by 21st, you have to complete. So, you have 3 days, almost 3 days. Okay. But for some people, it took like 1 day. Few people said like, no, this is not 5 hours. It took me 1 day. So, that's fine. So, that's the reason we have 3 days. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So it's better complete in a deadline, because you always have deadline for your projects. There's no project without deadline, right? Did you heard any project which has no deadline? I mean, I never heard it. So there's always a deadline. So always try to complete in your deadline. Okay, there is no unlimited time. Okay. Anything else? So you have to manage a lot of things. Okay. You have to also manage other classes. You have to manage, homeworks. You have to, it's a lot of things. So you have to do in that particular amount of time, because later, yeah, you can do it later. That's fine. There's always exceptions. Some people, have some issues. Okay, they have to meet a doctor. All those things. So in that stage, that's fine. You have to complete whenever you have free. But yeah, normally you have to complete in that deadline. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, can we close this class for today? Okay. Thank you, guys.